Hello and welcome to this edition of the Canvas Feature Spotlight. This video will provide a brief overview of how to create and add a rubric to an assignment, as well as highlight a few options that can be utilized when using rubrics in Canvas. Rubrics can be created in a couple of different areas of Canvas, and for the purpose of this video, we're going to look at the plus rubric button on a specific assignment. So as you have an assignment, if you want to add a rubric to it, we would click the plus rubric. You could first search for an existing rubric that you might want to use for a particular assignment. If you don't have one or don't find one that you want to use for that assignment, you can create one right on the assignment. So you would add descriptions of your criterion. You can add criterion. You can then add comments for the full marks. What would equal full marks? Just basically edit your rubric the way you want it to look for the student and for yourself to assess student work. And then you would be able to just create the rubric and add that for that particular assignment. For this example, we will look at some options as well that you can utilize once you have the rubric completed that you want to utilize. So if we have a rubric that we want to use, and we can click the pencil to edit that rubric and find the options to pick from. One of the first options you have is to use a range within each criteria and rating rather than just one score for that entire range, for that entire rating. So if you want to click on the range, you will then notice that will automatically put the points based on what you had each range set up to be. And then as you go into SpeedGrader, which we'll see in a second, you would then be able to enter the amount of points based on the range that you are selecting. So you could either select that for each criteria, for a couple of them, for none of them, and so that's one option you have. You can do free-form comments, and so it will take away then the different ratings and simply give the max points for each criteria, and then on SpeedGrader you will type in your comments in the ratings and choose the amount of points you want to give for each criteria. You can select to use the rubric for grading assignments, which would automatically put whatever score is generated from the rubric into the score for that assignment, or you can leave that unchecked and manually put in a score after you assess using the rubric, and you could hide the score off of the rubric totally as well. And so you have those options to utilize. You cannot, if you noticed as I click on the I'll write free-form comments, that range goes away, because the range and the free-form comments kind of offset each other, so it's one or the other in terms of that. So if we don't use the free-form comments and we're using a range, we then go to SpeedGrader, once that is set up and we update the rubric and we have assignments turned in and we go to SpeedGrader, then as you click on the View Rubric, you will have the option then to select the rating in the criteria that's appropriate, and then you would be able to it will default to the highest points, highest rating that you have for that criteria on that column that you select, but then you can change. If you want to give it a smaller number, you can do that, and so you can put in the score that you want within that range, and then ultimately save the rubric. Alright, and then if we go back then and we look at if we want to utilize maybe the free form, this is what the free form would look like when you go into SpeedGrader then. So in SpeedGrader, and I'll make this a little bit bigger here so you can see, if we go View Rubric, now you can type in your comments. You might want to spell them correctly, but you can put in your comments, and then you put in the points that you want for that particular criteria. You can save the comment, and what happens after you save that comment, if you go to the next student and you view the rubric, you have the option of using that comment over again for that student, and you can do that for each criteria and continue that over if you feel like you're going to use the same comments over and over. So those are a couple of ways that you can utilize rubrics to assess and provide feedback for your students. Please visit the Canvas community or let us know if you have any questions or need more help with utilizing rubrics within Canvas. Again, thank you for watching this episode of the Canvas Feature Spotlight. Thank you very much.